Hey, what's going on, guys? Anthrax here. So today I have a new election video for you, and today is going to be breaking down the polls and making my election prediction for the South Carolina Democratic primary. And I'm not going to do a Republican prediction because, spoiler alert, President Trump's going to win. So, yeah, I just saved you all a video. So, yeah, I'm going to be doing a South Carolina election prediction video for the Democratic primary. But first, before I get into that, please remember to like and subscribe if this is especially if this is your first time coming to my channel and seeing it. Make sure you subscribe. And when you do subscribe, which I hope you do, please tap the bell icon so whenever I post a new video, you always get notified. That way, you can be the first one to like the video or comment, or also, you can be one of the first to leave me a suggestion or video idea. And if there's a lot of comments, then the first one that pops up I'll be most likely to see first. So yeah, if you have a video idea or suggestion, please leave it below, and hopefully I'll be able to do it for you. So with that said, now let's get into the video. So, as I mentioned, the next delegate map primary, is South Carolina. South Carolina is 54 pledged delegates, and the difference between South Carolina and some of the previous primary and caucus states is South Carolina to this point is the most diverse state we've seen technically. I know there could be an argument that maybe Nevada's up there, but based off of the African American turnout vote, this is the biggest state we've had for African Americans for South Carolina, or for the Democratic primary so far. Iowa and New Hampshire are more of a white population. Nevada has a more white and Hispanic population. This is the first big test of who's going to win the African American vote. So, South Carolina, the votes, similar to a lot of states, the bulk of the votes are in Charleston, South Carolina, and Columbia, South Carolina, which is Richland County. Whoever wins these two counties are most likely to win the primary. And since it's South Carolina, what I mean by that is, look at all these rural counties. The rural counties have a lot of votes out there, but a lot of the vote is concentrated in these two major cities, and a lot of the vote goes up and down the coast. That's where more of the population is, going from North Carolina down to Georgia. A lot of votes on the coast. A lot of wealthy suburban areas, cheap real estate, live on the ocean. That's where a lot of the votes are. So, do we know who's going to win that? Well, we'll get to that in a second. But first, we'll take a look at how 2016 went. So, Democrats, Hillary Clinton versus Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders did not really have an African American vote appeal. He has a much bigger one now. Because back in 2016, Hillary Clinton versus Bernie Sanders, go ahead. Every single county went to Hillary. Every single county. And all by a pretty big margin, too. I'm just quickly going around the map. I mean, I'm not really seeing any close counties. I think, here we go. The closest county is 11 points. So, Hillary just killed Bernie Sanders in this. However, that being said, Hillary Clinton, Obama's Secretary of State for 4 years, everyone kind of viewed Hillary Clinton as the kind of African American vote getter on the Democratic side. Bernie Sanders did not have that appeal. What's the difference this time around? Well, if we take a look at the polling, Joe Biden, so far, he is leading in the polls. He's been leading early on, very, very early. Ever since October, he's been high up, and before that, Warren and Sanders have always been a distant second and third, until Warren started to taper off. Sanders has always stayed in second, really. Tom Steyer has made a bit of a jump. This is the reason why Tom Steyer's numbers are pretty high here is because while all the other candidates were out campaigning in Iowa, New Hampshire, and even Nevada for that matter, Tom Steyer was building up his ground game in South Carolina, hoping to take away a big percentage of that support. And then look what happened. This 18.5, this is when right here, this February 12th, this is when Democrats started to focus more of their attention on South Carolina. And this is following Iowa and New Hampshire. And this is coming right around the Nevada time and South Carolina time are becoming bigger. This is following Bernie's momentum. So Steyer starts to drop a little bit, and so does Biden. And their support pretty much goes to either Buttigieg or to Bernie Sanders. Most of it goes to Bernie Sanders. And then right here, around February 22nd And let's see, today's date is the 28th. So about the 22nd to about the 25th. This is the aftermath of the debate. Okay, the debate happened. What did the debate show? Well, as you can see, Joe Biden skyrocketed following the debate. I've said that I don't think I recorded a video on it, but I remember talking to my family and some of my friends. The debate was undoubtedly Joe Biden's best debate of this campaign. To see Joe honestly get mad when when Joe said the line like, "You've been cutting me off all night. I'm talking. I'm gonna get to talk." When he said that, honestly, I'm not even a Joe Biden supporter. I'm not even really. I'm not. I don't want to ever. I don't want to give away my bias. I try not to be biased. I try to look as objectively as I can. I don't like. I don't like really. I'm not a fan of Joe Biden. I'll just say this. I'll stay neutral. I'm not a fan of Joe Biden. To see him stand up for himself and actually go after the media and go after all the other candidates, kind of like passing him off to the side as a joke, to see him actually get mad and go after them, it was very refreshing. And it looks like a lot of people in South Carolina like that as well, as his numbers went up really well. Bernie Sanders are rising a little bit too, but I think right now up by about 12, 13 points in the polls and the national average. Steyer's going down, Buttigieg is going up. It's looking pretty good right now that Joe Biden's going to end up winning the primary of South Carolina. The question is, by how much? And this is where the issue comes in now. So, average in polls, Biden has 36.8, Sanders is 24.3. Well, I do want to check something here. Look at this average, and let's look at the real results, right? So, Democratic nomination, let's see what Iowa said. Iowa had Sanders up by 3.7. It was only 3.4, off by 0.3, so very close. Now, New Hampshire. New Hampshire, Sanders up by 7.4. Sanders only won by 1.3, so the numbers were a little off there. And then Nevada had Sanders at 16.5, actual 16.4. So these polls have been pretty spot on, to be completely honest with you. So it's really hard to go against these primary polls when so far they've been pretty spot on accurate. If anyone remembers any of my 2018 election prediction videos I did back when I first started my channel 2 years ago, what I really did was I paid attention to the polls who have the bigger amount of vote totals. The more votes, the more reliable they tend to be. So 36.8 for Joe Biden, 24.3 for Bernie Sanders. What happens in South Carolina? I think the numbers will probably be similar. At this moment, I would give Joe Biden, I'm going to say about 38.89% of the vote here. Okay? So that's about 33 delegates or toss-up votes remaining. Bernie Sanders, so he's going to come in second. I'd give him, Biden gets 20, I would say Bernie gets 25, about 26%. Of the 35.19 remaining, I think Buttigieg and Steyer are going to be kind of a nail-biter for third and fourth. Just given how he's performed so far, I would say Pete Buttigieg is probably going to do a little bit better than Tom Steyer, I'd say. I think Buttigieg might get 7 delegates. Steyer I don't even have on here, so I'm just going to put this in the debate category. He's probably going to come in 6th place there. Bloomberg, Klobuchar, Warren and Klobuchar after this. Let me think. How do I want to do this? Actually, I think I might give Biden a few more votes. Biden's going to get up to 42. Sanders will get up to 29. Buttigieg will go up by 1 more. Steyer will go up by 1 more. And so I think it's 15% or more to qualify. I think it is. So will Steyer if it's 15%, will Steyer even qualify or Buttigieg? I mean, this is just a polling average. So to go off of it, off of the data, I think if it's so this is by polling data average. So this is based off the polls. I think off polling data, I think Bernie will get about 16 delegates, Buttigieg would get 8, Biden would get 23, and then Tom Steyer would get about 7. But I think it has to be over 15% to get delegates. And I haven't really factored that in yet, any of my predictions. So if that happens, I may need to start changing that in future election videos. But for now, I'll just leave this how it is. And I think Joe Biden will end up winning the primary in South Carolina. After this, so far, Bernie Sanders will win 2 states. Pete Buttigieg is technically still the winner in Iowa. We're still waiting for more details on that. And Joe Biden will have his first primary win. And for him, this would be a very big sign for his campaign, for him winning the state of South Carolina, because this shows he can still run on that electability factor that he's been holding on to very tightly. So this is going to be very important for him to win South Carolina. And with that, Joe Biden wins 1 primary state at the margins I gave him. He could do better than this. I don't know. If he wins it at these margins, Joe Biden instantly goes to second place over Pete Buttigieg if these numbers hold, if these numbers are correct. So this is key for Joe Biden to win this state, to win this primary. And I think on the end of the night on Saturday, I think Joe Biden is going to do this. All right, thank you so much for watching. Remember, please like and subscribe. Tap the bell icon to always get notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.